let's get to what exactly DeepSeek is and why there's so much talk about it today. So first of all, it is a Chinese AI startup that was actually funded by a hedge fund, sort of as a side project, began in 2023. And then why is it causing so much attention now? Well, it introduced its new R1 model last Monday, a week ago today. There was some momentum building last week, and then it sort of exploded over the weekend and into today. It develops these open source large language models, and open source is important. That is different than some of the models that are out there. And it also says that its R1 rivals OpenAI's model O1. So this is something that people have tried it out and said it is pretty successful. It does have some blind spots, including those that have to do with the Chinese Communist Party. People have used this model, have said it will not answer questions. It either will demur or give answers that are not in line with reality. Whatever the case, since it is open source, there is talk that that can potentially be tweaked by those who are using it for their own purposes, but that remains to be seen. The big thing here, as Josh alluded to, it says it is training this latest model cost $5.6 million, million with an M, not billion with a B. And that is the real revolution here, as we've been talking about, is that because of export controls, it apparently did this without NVIDIA's most advanced and most expensive chips in a much more cost-effective and efficient way. Now, again, these claims have not been verified independently, and there is a lot of chatter, which we're going to talk more about whether they really did this, whether they somehow got some of those NVIDIA chips through a back door, and that's how they developed the model. So that's what's at stake here. Now, a lot of people have been downloading this thing over the past week or so as it has gained prominence. It was number one on the App Store. I think it still is at this point. So a lot of people are interested in this model, and it had some outages. DeepSeek actually said it was because of attacks, not because of the flood of people using it, and it didn't have the capacity. It says, and again, we haven't independently verified this, but it says due to large-scale malicious attacks on DeepSeek services, we are temporarily limiting registrations to ensure continued service. And indeed, it was limiting those registrations to people with a Chinese mobile number because there was such an increase in interest from outside the United States. And speaking of the United States, obviously there's also a geopolitical element here about competitiveness. We restricted these chips to China, and now China has come up with this large language model that is, at least on first glance, comparable with the ones that are happening here in the US. So what's the reaction to that? Well, David Sachs is the cyber and AI czar that was appointed from the White House, and he says it shows that the AI race will be very competitive and that President Trump was right to rescind the Biden executive order, which he says hamstrung American AI companies without asking whether China would do the same. Obviously not, he says. I'm confident in the US, but we can't be complacent. So we'll see if there's any kind of action that comes, or if it's more just a matter of not regulating this industry to try to foster innovation.